So now let's talk about the website and what expectations we can have on a website. The first question I want you to think about is, why is having a business website essential? Or is it? You know, I've worked with some people that they seem to think that a website isn't that essential, that it's optional at best. And obviously I'm biased because I run a web agency, so I'm in the trenches. But let's talk about why a website is essential. I'm going to give you 5 main objectives a business website should have in order to be successful. The first objective of a website is to establish online presence. Now, some people, that's a big term. You might have heard of that. Oh yeah, I need to have a good online presence. But one of the questions is how to do that. I'm going to give you a specific example of a client we just started working with about a month ago. Their company is called Elevated Check. Elevated Check is a background company here in Utah. They just started in business maybe a couple months ago, and they're going out, talking to businesses that need background checks. The problem was they had a website, but when they would tell someone to go to Google and look them up, they could not find their company anywhere on multiple pages down. And their business name is Elevated Check. So you'd think if I typed in Elevated Check, they would show up at the top, but they didn't. So as you can see from this screenshot, now when I go to Google and I type in Elevated Check, they're showing up number 1, both right here, and their Google business profile, which is like Google Maps, is showing up right here. And that only took a couple weeks for that to happen. And let me show you how we did it. First, we built a site on a search engine friendly platform, WordPress. Luckily, all of you at least either know me well or I work with you, and so you know that WordPress is what we use, so we can check that one off our list. We have a WordPress website. The second is we created a sitemap using Google Search Console. This is something that I've talked with some of you about, and for some of you, I may have done this already, but this is a value add that will get our site recognized by Google quicker. We have to create a sitemap, and we have to submit it to Google Search Console so that they'll start crawling our website more proactively. Some people never do this. It doesn't mean your website won't be found. It just means this will speed up that process. And this sped up the process for my friend at Elevated Check. Okay. The third thing we did with him is we started what's called on-site SEO. On-site SEO is like title tags, meta descriptions, and heading tags, things like that. So when you go to a search engine and you click on it, you're going to see the title tag is what you click on, and the meta description is the sentence below. And we started optimizing those for keyword phrases that he wanted to be found for, like the phrase Elevated Check or background checks for businesses. Those are keyword phrases he wants to be found for. So those are some things we did to start developing his online presence. The second objective a website should have is credibility and trust, or it should help build your business's credibility and trust. If you've ever been asked the question when you're talking about your business, what's your website? Most of you can probably say, oh, it's this.com. But I'm going to tell you a firsthand experience. When I got my first job out of college, I sold copiers and printers for a pretty new company. And this is back in the mid to early 2000s. So websites weren't maybe as important or well known as they are now. But I got this question all the time because I was out cold calling, out knocking doors. And they're like, oh yeah, what's your website? And we didn't have one. And guess how that made me feel? It made me feel like this. I don't have a website. Or it's coming soon. I know firsthand that lost me business. Because if I didn't have a website, then for all they knew, I wasn't really that credible, or I was just maybe up and coming, or for all they knew, maybe I was a scam. So we don't want to look like this when people ask what our website is. I got permission from this next client to show this sign. I want you to look at this sign closely. This is a client I've worked with for about 5 years. They do a medical spa, and they own a float and all this stuff. But look at this sign closely and tell me in the chat how this sign might hurt their credibility. Look closely. I'll give you like 30 seconds. You can put it in the chat if you see the answer. It looks like it's a nice looking sign. It looks professional. Okay, it looks like a snowman. That's good. Looks like a toilet. That could hurt its credibility. Okay, I'm going to show you the answer. Here's the answer. Look at their domain name. summitspaandfloat.weebly.com. For a business owner, that is like, it's a cringe. It's that's what's called a subdomain. We don't want our website to look like that. We want our website to have a legitimate .com address, not a subdomain. So it's funny now. It wasn't funny at the time. Since then, we've gone on to build Summit Medical Spa's new website. It's summitmedicalspa.com. You can check it out. It gives you some ideas on how we do things. But this site, I share this because this site by itself has made this client a lot of money for their business. It's become a machine for their business to schedule appointments, to sell gift certificates, to answer questions, to educate and inform. Okay, good. All right, from Forbes. Forbes says a business's online presence, regardless of industry, can have a massive impact on its success. In this day and age, some businesses still don't realize that a majority of their customers will visit their website before making a purchase. Now, as I think about my kids, my oldest is 18. If he was looking up a business and he couldn't find them online, he would just go to the next one. He wouldn't even think about it. Maybe some of us that are a little older and the websites are, kind of new. I mean, there wasn't web when I was a kid, but we might still consider it. But according to Forbes, everybody's going to a website before they decide to make a purchase. So that's how important it is. The third thing a website can do for us is accessibility and convenience. This is essential. This is a case study I did. This is a company called Nebo Gymnastics. The picture on the left, the purple and blue, is when I first met them. I met them because my little girls were going to this gymnastics studio. And when I saw their website, I was fairly new to the web world at the time, but I knew it was bad and I wanted to help them. So we redesigned their site. That picture on the right is of their new site. And recently we just redesigned their site again. So it's been through multiple iterations or upgrades. But I show you the arrows because the arrows are what has made this site a profitable employee. There are three or four calls to action. The two on the top, they're always there. As I scroll down, they're going to stay there. And they invite the person to register or they invite the person to make a payment. And then the ones down below are sign up for a free trial class or see all the classes. That's what they want the visitor to do. Now I'm going to tell you this. Those call to action buttons, since we added those to their site and since we redesigned their site, have made the company almost $1 million in revenue just because we added a make a payment and a register for class call to action. That's what they want the visitor to do. And I'll tell you this as well. The client I worked with, he was old school. He was very hesitant. I don't know if my website can take money, or why would people want to do that? But the numbers speak for themselves. Myself as a client wanted to be able to make my payments on his website and have that set up as a recurring payment instead of having to write a check and take it to the office. Just was not convenient. So another benefit of a website is it can be accessible and convenient for the end user. The fourth objective of a good business website is an obvious one, marketing. But marketing can be very vague. So let's talk about that more specifically by asking this question. How can clients find your business by accident? How can clients find your business by accident? Can they type in a keyword phrase in Google and find you? Can they type in your business name in Google and find you? That's not as accidental because they're looking for your business name, but what are ways that people can find you by accident if they're looking in a search engine, for example, or they're on social media? I'll share with you a case study from my first business. This is a secret for only you on this webinar. When I grew up clogging, which is kind of like tap dance. And I did that. I did clogging in college. I clogged in the Salt Lake opening ceremonies of the Olympics. So clogging took me a lot of fun places. And when I got out of college and I got this job at the coaching company, this was the website that my mentor helped me build. And my mentor, a couple years after I built this, he joked with me and said, I thought you would never make any money with this website. But I knew this industry really well. And I knew that I could get into the niche and I could dominate the niche. This website in 8 years paid for my mortgage every month because I sold clogging shoes. And one of the ways people would find me accidentally is they would type in the phrase clogging shoes or something like that in Google, and clogon.com would show up. And my competitors who had been in the business of this kind of stuff for a long time, I really think they hated me because here I was, this young up and comer, and I knew how to get to the top of Google and they didn't. And so I passed up a lot of my suppliers, a lot of my competitors, and I took a lot of business from them just by accident, by being in the right place at the right time. That's what your website can do too. It can show up when people are looking for specific services or products or both. Another example of that, and that all of this is called keyword research. We're not going to go into this too much today, but in an upcoming webinar, we're going to talk a lot more about keyword research, because for me, keyword research is the fundamental and the foundation piece for good digital marketing. We have to know what we're going after to attract the right people to our site. Another case study, this is a client we worked with for about 10 years. This is Red Zone, University of Utah's merchandise department, or their swag. When we worked with them, when we started, for phrases like Utah Utes apparel, they were on page 3 or 4 or 5 or not even found. And I was shocked when I came to them because I'm like, the Red Zone is the apparel, is the licensed apparel company for the University of Utah. But we did some of the things that I talked about, the sitemap, on-site SEO, link building strategy. And as of recently, here's some of the phrases that were ranked for #1 in search. University of Utah apparel, Utah Utes hats, Utah sweatshirts, Utah hats, Utah hoodies. All the keyword phrases, phrases that I call buyer phrases, were found for #1 in search. And that helps this business make from pennies to millions of dollars on their website, just by doing a few little things to make their website better. So that's something we can expect from a website if we're doing the right things. And the final thing we'll talk about for the objective of a good business website is to inform and educate. To inform and educate. This is a client's website we built about almost 3 years ago. As you look at this website, I want you to think about, how is this website, just from the very first look at it, how is it educating and informing its clients? Let's put that in the chat. What are some things you can see this website is doing to educate and inform? Looking for answers. Okay, it gives a location. That's good. Yes, it's informing people where they are located. What else? Gives a video. That's a perfect one. Any other things you see this website does to educate and inform? Focus, educational video, product, what their service is, scheduling the consultation, rapid start to finish. That's impressive. Yes. Good. Those are all perfect answers. So the first thing I'll point out is it invites the visitor to do exactly what it wants the visitor to do, which is schedule a free consultation. When a person clicks on that button, the first thing it does is pops up with a form to ask them specific questions, not just their name and their email and how can they help, which is like a contact form, but instead, how soon are you looking to get started? Would you have a size in mind? Were you interested in financing? It's asking very specific questions. In some ways, qualifying, and in some ways informing the visitor about how their process works. The other one that was mentioned is it has a video. It's not every day that someone installs a pool in their backyard. So before they make that kind of big decision, they kind of want to see what happens, or they want to see that if a quick installation is really true or not. When they click on that video, the video pops up and it shows a full pool install from start to finish using time-lapse video. And so someone can see the dig, the laying of the gravel, the putting in the pool, the putting in the cement, and the putting in the top, everything. I know that this video for this client has closed about 6 deals, at least 6 deals that I'm aware of, because of the video by itself, because the client who's purchased said, oh, I watched your video and that helped me answer a lot of questions. So this video and this website has helped this company generate a lot of qualified leads and a lot of new deals. Another thing that this website does to inform and educate is when you click on their support button, it takes you to a knowledge base where they have 3 of their top questions that they get all the time. This page, my client has said, this page alone has saved him thousands of dollars and thousands of hours, because when he gets a text or a call about a specific question that could take him a long time to answer, he says, oh, here's the link, just go to the support page and you can watch that video. And then his clients can watch the video, they can see exactly how it's done step by step. And again, that saves him money and it makes him money. So the website, it educates and informs. It also gives him the other things, the credibility and the online presence. If this all is making sense, I want you to type in yes in the chat. Good. All right. Other things a website can do. One of them is e-commerce. Showing you the Nebo gymnastics, that's sort of e-commerce. That's collecting money, collecting payments on the website. But we can also do other things e-commerce based. Lead gen, which we talked about, like very qualified lead focused. And we can even add things like live chat, which will improve the communication. But one of the most important things I want you to remember and even write down is a website can create data-driven marketing. Or in other words, you should never have to guess if your website is working. The data will tell us, whether it's the tracking tools or the leads we get or things like that. Okay. So going back full circle, why is it having a business website essential? Now we know it is essential. It does all those things and it can get us measured results. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments below. If you like this video and found it helpful, give it a thumbs up. And if you want to get more videos like this, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Thanks a lot. See you in the next one.